Well, this was 2 nights ago at about 11:30 at night when Betty Ray's Ice Cream there in River Market was broken into, and it led to the owner of Betty Ray's, Matt Shatto, who is joining us on KCMO Talk Radio, coming on and realizing on social media, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, that he's got to say something. So you look at the post that Matt Shatto put up, and it's pretty forceful. He's not holding back, and he now joins us here on KCMO Talk Radio, 95.7 FM, streaming on the KCMO Talk Radio app. Matt, good morning. Thanks for being here. What compelled you to put that post up on social media where you basically called out the city, the mayor, and everybody involved with violent crime and crime in general in Kansas City, Missouri?
Yeah, good morning, Pete. Thanks for having me. It wasn't an issue of trying to call anybody out. I think it was a culmination of weeks of conversations with neighboring businesses in the River Market and as well as our location around Waldo, and talking about things ranging from how do we spend our own money to try to create private security to protect ourselves from what we saw coming, what we see happening. Hearing my neighboring coffee shop owner talking about does he need to be arming his staff with baseball bats and all this stuff. And it once it happened to us, it becomes obviously more real. And it kind of just pushed me to the point in which that, we have to say something, because what we've been doing and what we're doing obviously is not working whenever you have 3 incidents in the past week. So, again, it wasn't about calling anybody out. It's not about being angry. It's about wanting to try to figure out what it is that we can do to get stakeholders to actually make an effort to do something proactive to stop this versus thinking that we can be reactive and it's just going to go away.
What are some of those things that, beyond the break-in that you had on Tuesday night, what are some of those things that yourself and other business owners around you in River Market have been dealing with that, frankly, just aren't getting any media attention?
Yeah, I think the two main things that we deal with, and thankfully we have some private security that roams the area. We have the downtown council that provides some folks that roam the area, mainly during daylight hours. But the biggest issue is we don't see a police presence in the River Market. Therefore, things like break-ins to Donutology, break-ins to us, things that happen to Enzo are a huge, huge issue. And again, it's not necessarily about the impact to the physical component of the buildings, the cost of that, or even the money that's stolen. It's about the fact that now I have to have conversations with potential staff members trying to educate and try to talk 16-year-olds that want to work in an ice cream shop that want to make people happy. I have to now talk and convince them into believing it's safe for them to come to work at the River Market. And that is not a focus that we should be having. It's something that should be dealt with. The other thing is we're continuing to have a problem with aggressive homeless people in the River Market area that just continues to not be addressed and not be seen as something that needs to be addressed for the patrons that visit the River Market on a weekly basis.
Matt Shatto is here on KCMO Talk Radio, owner of Betty Ray's Ice Cream, had a post up on LinkedIn and Facebook after his break into the River Market location a couple of nights ago. So how much money now are you spending and businesses around you, if you don't mind sharing, on private security, which once again, as you noted in your post, is frankly something that you pay taxes for?
Yeah, and so I'm not avoiding the question. I don't know that I have a good answer. What I can tell you is that we're having conversations with a lot of the property owners in that area that we're talking, $250,000 or more to try to figure out a centralized way to have security cameras that are monitored by one group, and we can have consistency there and no overlap, that we can have additional private security presence, that we can, do a whole host of things that are not being done, that we truly believe, that I believe, that if we had just a little bit more of a police presence all throughout the day, all hours of the day, I think that it would be seen as an area in which that's getting attention and we can reduce some of these issues. It doesn't need to come to us in the private sector of spending a considerable sum of money in order to do some things that we see as our last resorts. We need leadership. And again, this is not a political issue. This is a crime issue. That should not be political. We need leadership at the local level to address this for the business owners all throughout Kansas City, not just the River Market area.
No, there's nothing about this that's political at all. So how hard is this made hiring for you?
Yeah, I think it's number one, it's a hiring issue, and you never really know because you don't know who's not applying because of it. But you do know the people that bring it up whenever they have an interview with you. But it also takes away from us trying to train people about cleanliness and customer service and everything else that are the facets of our business. We no longer have the time to do that in their first day. We're talking to them about how to handle situations that may arise due to a lack of public safety. And again, that doesn't allow us as a business to do what it is that we pride ourselves in, and that's trying to make people smile by enjoying a frozen dessert at Betty Ray's.
When you talk to other business owners, I feel like there's been more conversation as of late where more business owners have been willing to speak out publicly. Maybe that's just anecdotal of me, but are you getting that sense, Matt? And if so, why has it finally come to this point when this issue has been out there for the last couple of years?
Yeah, so I'm new to the Betty Ray's ownership conversation for the past year and a half, so I can't speak prior to that. But what I can say is that I can see a difference in temperature even in the past 6 months. And yeah, you're right. I think that even our neighbors, we get communication from them quite often about kind of what they're seeing, what they're dealing with, and they're honestly fed up. They're afraid for their assets. They're afraid for their customer base, and it's to the point in which they understand they can't hide behind thinking somebody else is going to carry the torch in order to try to affect change, that we together, those of us that have been affected and those of us that are concerned that we will be affected, have to do something or nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change because it's a pointing of the fingers between, a state-run police department, the city, the prosecutor's office, blah, 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 whatever it is. And if it's not going to change over the course of the past however many years, it's not going to change tomorrow unless something does change, and that's going to be the voices of the business owners that are affected.
Matt Shatto is joining us here on KCMO Talk Radio. The owner of Betty Ray's Ice Cream got broken into a couple of nights ago. Had a post up on social media highlighting this. So in the wake of this post, curious who you've heard from and if you feel better or the same about the trajectory of the city and continuing to do business in the city.
Great question. So a whole lot of personalities and positions in all forms and fashions, which I appreciate and are great. Social media is obviously not the best place to have a true, meaningful dialogue. The mayor's reached out in a few different facets. My hope is that we're able to have a conversation, not that he and I are going to solve it together, but if we can share anything that can help move that needle, then I'm all for it. Do I feel any better about it? I don't know that I do, because I still don't know who's going to carry the torch. The conversation is a lot of the things that come up and say the mayor's not the person to talk to. And I would argue that no matter who the mayor is, whether it's Mayor Lucas, whether he's a Republican or a Democrat, the fact of the matter is the mayor is the right person because he's voted on behalf of the constituents to really kind of look out for them and to use his political clout to make change, no matter whether it's with the prosecutor's office, with the state, Mayor Parsons, or the legislature, whoever it is that he needs to go to, the police board. And so I do believe he is the one that has the opportunity. It's not a challenge. It's not something that's being pushed on him. He has the opportunity to get these stakeholders in the room and to try to figure out something that we can do. It's great that we have $300,000 sitting around to give to people to pay for things that are lost or doors that are broken. But in all honesty, that's not meaningful to me as a business owner. What's meaningful for me as a business owner is for an environment to be seen by the constituents as safe for them to come and patronize, and for them to see that they want their kids and or sons and daughters to be able to come and work for a company like ours because they believe it's a safe environment, it's a fun environment. So long-winded way to say we've heard from a lot of folks. I'm not sure that I see that much change is going to occur. I'm hopeful and would be more than happy to be a part of the solution. Obviously,
there's a cost to the business when you have these kinds of break-ins. Has there been a cost yet to the revenue side of this? Is River Market seeing a downturn that you can attribute to some of these crime issues that are now taking place in parts of town where they weren't previously taking place?
That's a good question. I don't know that I'm the appropriate one to answer because I think that's a broader scope answer than what it is I can answer on behalf of just one single company. So, yeah, I'm going to have to punt on that one.
Oh, that's fine. I just didn't know if you guys had talked about that. What about just, where things are at in general and where you want to see them go? You mentioned hopefully getting together with the mayor. What do you want to hear, see from others in the business community? The Chamber of Commerce has been, I think, awfully quiet on this front. Do you want to see more from groups like that as well and folks coming together versus just each of you basically doing social media posts and complaining about it? Not that the complaining isn't warranted, it is. But, I feel like we've got a lot of stories like this in recent weeks where business owners say, hey, I got hit, I've got this problem. Is there a way for business owners, maybe through the chamber, maybe separately, to come together and say, we're going to do this as a unit. Enough's enough. We've got to solve this?
Yeah, so I guess the chamber, I don't know what their position is. I haven't heard anything from them. That's one of the reasons I'm not a member. I don't know that I feel like they have my voice as a small business in Kansas City in mind whenever they're doing things. If I'm wrong from that, I'd love for them to reach out and tell me how. But yeah, no, they should be absolutely vocal about what's going on because it's going to affect their members and people that potentially could become members. Secondly, I really would like to see Mayor Lucas come out not just with reactive measures, but a bulleted point focus of how he's going to address it in a proactive way. And again, I'll give him 100% credit if he's able to make some steps and strides in that direction. It's not me against the mayor in any form or fashion. My hope is that he's going to be successful. But I would love to see him come out and have a public stance as it relates to what proactive steps he's going to take to stop this from occurring versus reacting once it does. And then I think in addition to that, we can have numerous conversations about the prosecutor's office and kind of what they're doing and what they're not doing. I think it's incumbent upon that office to take all crimes seriously and to prosecute all crimes that are taking place. And then with the police board, unfortunately, we don't have local accountability to a certain extent with the police board, but I think we all need to hold them accountable too at all levels. But again, we're removed from the state legislature. And again, we look to our local representatives to be our voice with them, and we want them to go and communicate what the needs of our community are. And if they're not able to do that, then maybe somebody else needs to be doing it.
All right. Well, very well done. Matt Shatto joining us on KCMO, owner of Betty Ray's Ice Cream. Matt, thank you so much for being here on KCMO. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me.
All right. Well said there all around.